Okay, so welcome to the vlog. So today I am rehashing a background that I had for a prior YouTube channel that I was going to do. So basically what happened, one of my hard drives went down and I thought that I'd lost the file. This morning I found it and it's looking a little bit basic, and so because I'm doing a little bit of a rehash with this YouTube channel, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build this back basically up from ground level. I'm going to go in there, amend some of the textures, and I'm going to go in there as well and just basically change a few things that I'd like to change. So this is part of the project. This is the original. So this is the project that I lost, and it's loading in beautifully actually. Okay, got that nice little depth of field and stuff going on. So I'm going to go ahead and change some of these kind of like backgrounds. I don't want to change everything. I do like the way that it's set out, but I want to change the depth of field. I want to go ahead and change this chair out. It's looking a little old. Maybe some of the plants, I mean the models are okay, but maybe put some shelves in here and then some shelves here as well. That would be neat. So because I'm running season 2 currently on my main channel for Blender, I've actually made quite a lot of stuff that I can use for props in the background. So I'm going to go ahead, I think, I'm going to keep the table, I'm going to keep the old like Manchester inspired tram, but I think I'm going to put some more stuff in here, especially get rid of that chair because I don't quite like it. Maybe it needs a bit of amending, but it just seems a bit too rigid, you know what I mean, to look real. So obviously when I created all of this, this was kind of like the best that I could get at the time, given what I knew about Blender and given my skills and stuff like that. I mean, this back set is maybe about 3 years old, so I know that I can make some more textures on these. This is the little Manchester tram that I have right here that I built. Ignore the line in the middle of my screen, it's broken. But yeah, this chair is really standing out as just being a little bit too blocky. I feel like this is like PlayStation 2 graphics or something like that compared to the rest of it. So what I want to do as well is this wall is just too flat. Obviously there's individual bricks there, but I just feel like it's more of a background than an actual kind of living, breathing kind of thing. The plant's okay, the table's a little bit thin on the ground, and the floor doesn't really have that much texture. So I mean, like, usually if you had an office you'd have some sort of patterns. The roof isn't that bad. I mean, black ceiling with grey walls, that's pretty cool. It kind of pops everything else out, but I just want to amend some of the textures on here. Maybe get some more metallic textures on some of these little kind of hexagon pieces right here for the honeycomb. Maybe some underlighting would be great in this as well, like just some backlighting. Let's see. I do like the underlighting right here, but I feel like this could be amended. It does complement it well, but we're looking at using gold tones, some blue tones and some whites. So I mean, it does work, but I think it just needs something. There's something missing. So I'm going to go ahead and start with the floor right here, and you can see the blooming line on my broken screen there. So we have all of these options right here. We've got the noise texture, the bump, the principal BSDF, XYZ. I currently can't record on my PC because it's having some issues with the recording, trying to get some new software for that. So yeah, this is the best that you guys are going to get at the minute. Okay, trying out the checkered floor even. I don't know. I think it's too much. I think it doesn't really complement it that well. Maybe we could try carpet. This one is the carpet texture. I don't really like it. I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't really match anything. Let's try Veroni. Okay, it kind of gives off this nice artistic effect, but I don't like this one either. Okay, so looking at my folder for this channel in particular, we need gold, blacks and whites. So we could go ahead and place these onto the floor as well. So this is a little idea that I've come up with, kind of like a black and white carpet. We have the golds, we have the blacks, we have the whites, and of course we've got the grey tones in the background, and this green is kind of messing this up a little bit. The train, I can't really see it. This is a tram from Manchester. I mean, it kind of works, but that chair is just too blocky, and the table's a little bit blocky as well. So the floor I'm not too sure about. I'm going to leave it like that at the moment and just amend everything else, and then I will come back to it to do some other stuff. So for those of you who are interested, this is the tram model that I built maybe a good couple of years ago. Like, I get it, like there's little imperfections and stuff. There should be a gap right here. But given the skills that I had at the time, this is the best that I could do. And here's a little snippet from the front. So I noticed as well the texture on the honeycombs that I have in the background actually do have a little bit of texture to them. It's not great, but it's a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead into the nodes, the shading tab right here. Let's see what's going on. So we have the little Manchester bee coming up through the wall right here. I don't think this is bright enough for what it actually is. It's just kind of sculpted out of a little piece, and then it's a wireframe exterior. So these little honeycomb pieces, I believe that there are at least 3 different variants. You have the emissions right here, which are the orange ones. Then you've got the regulars, then you've kind of got these more pale ones, and then of course you've got ones that are missing, and then there's white ones somewhere down here. For this in particular, I think I might strip everything back, because if we click on this one right here, we'll notice that we have the noise texture, we have the bump right here, we've got the base color. So I think this is just primarily a noise texture kind of thing, and this, I don't know where this is plugged into. Let's see. It's plugged into something. I think it's in transmission. Let's see. If we plug this into metallic, this should change everything that is the same material to it. So seems to have gone a little bit paler. I'm going to go ahead and just amend this real quick, and then I'll come back with what I did. Okay, so with this background in particular, there are a few things that I've noticed. First and foremost, this strip light at the top is a little bit too bright. I want to go ahead and put some backing light behind all of these hexagons so that they kind of pop out a little bit more, and it kind of gives us a little bit more of an LED, more modern vibe to it. The bricks right here seem to have a reflection. This is actually the reflection of the wall prior, which is behind here, if you guys remember the wall with all of the brick that was quite bare. And then this right here isn't actually a metallic, and for some reason it's got a booty. So I'm going to get the sculpt mode on this real quick, and as you can see, this has actually been it's kind of like a push plate that I've kind of created. So what I'm going to do is, let's go back to the regular render for the moment. You see how shiny these bricks are right here? They shouldn't be that shiny. So let's go to the sculpt mode right here. I'm going to go ahead and we will go with smoothing this out somewhat. So let's see, can I get this to come out a little bit here? You can see what I'm doing right there. Kind of just trying to sculpt this outwards just a little bit more, as such. And what I can do actually is, just trying to think, it is straight apart from that bit, so we're going to need to pull that over. Let's grab that and pull that over to the side, straighten that up a little bit so it doesn't look like it's been hit by something. Maybe just about there. That should be fine. To be honest with you, I think it all needs neatening out, to be honest with you. And let's go and add a blob. I'm going to go and amend some of these legs a little bit more, I think. Let's pull this out. So I think it's because it's crosshatch. And because there's not that much of a crosshatch, it's not giving us a lot of surface to work with, but I can pull some of those vertices out, that's fine. Let's go with the lower one right here. That should be fine. I think the antennas need a little bit more work. Just kind of try and connect that a little bit more. Come on. There we go. Make that body a little bit bigger, make that head a little bit bigger. Let's amend this. I don't like how that's twisting. It's kind of bothering me a little bit, but it is what it is. Unless I want to rebuild the entire thing. Let's make that foot a little bit longer. Yeah, I think that should be okay. Maybe amend that just slightly. I think I'm doing too much on that leg, to be honest with you. Okay, you know what, I'm going to leave it like that. Alrighty, so this is our little kind of inspired bee that we have right here for the channel background. We can see that we have these nice little bricks going on right here, but I feel there's too much light coming in here and it's a little bit too reflective, so we'll amend that in the moment. At the moment we're going to be working with the parameters for the bee. So as you can see at the moment, it has a high metallic, mid roughness, and it's kind of got this nice little yellowing to it. I'm going to go ahead and make this a metallic BSDF rather than a principal BSDF, and we will see what we can do with that one. So to do this, we have the bee right here. I'm going to go ahead into the side panel right here, and I'm going to click on the principal BSDF, and we will change this to the metallic BSDF. Now when we do this, obviously the computer is going to need to remake its calculations on what we can do, and of course the metallic BSDF has loaded in right at the bottom right here. Now this is the one word that I struggle to pronounce in Blender, which is the antistrophe. I'm absolutely butchering that. I'm going to go ahead and pull that up, and I'm going to go ahead and amend the roughness downwards. Now what this should do is give us a nice mirrored finish with a nice little metallic kind of overlay onto our piece. So at the moment you can see that this is coming through, it's not fully loaded in. But generally you get the idea of how this is supposed to look. Now for me personally, I'm thinking of placing a background on this. It just kind of looks a little bit naked without anything on the back. But to be honest with you, it kind of looks okay. You know, I don't really, maybe I could come back to this and amend things, but I feel like it looks okay for the moment. But I'm going to amend these bricks first and foremost, and then I'll come back to this. So as I've clicked on the bricks, you'll notice that this has popped up. Now it has a little bit of a yellow tint to it, so we're going to go ahead and take that yellow tint right here. We'll click this and we'll just go ahead and minus that one off. So now we have this nice grey look, and you'll notice that they seem a little bit more duller. Now obviously the lighting comes in practically last on Blender, so at the moment it's still making its calculations. But also I don't like the way that the bricks are in general. So generally when I do a bump texture akin to this, what I will generally do is I will go ahead and add in a bump texture to maybe the roughness or the rotation or anything like that. For this one it seems to just be base colour and colour ramp. Now back when I made this originally, that was generally the way that I would do things. I do things differently now. So we're going to go ahead and amend this setup, and I will get right back to you. So from here I've gone ahead and I've amended the roughness to more of this kind of texture. I feel that this is still a little bit too small, so what I'm going to do is let's go to scale, and we'll go ahead and just scale this up just ever so slightly so that we have that texture there. And then what I'm going to do is go with distortion, so we can just kind of randomize that texture a little bit more, and then we'll go ahead and we'll move and mosey on down that scale just ever so slightly. As something like this, you don't want something too prominent, but you want something that kind of stands out. And then we need to amend the colour for these, and we want the roughness all the way down. So we're going to have something akin to this. Okie dokie, so this is the rough texture for the brick, and you'll notice that we have this nice LED lighting right here, or tube lighting, and you'll notice as well that the light pollution from the tube lighting isn't exactly touching the brick very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and move that roughness downwards a little bit. So what you'll notice with this brick texture is that we were using a metallic BSDF. Now maybe my past self wanted this to kind of glow up a little bit, but to be honest with you, I kind of like the rougher brick texture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this metallic BSDF out for a principal BSDF, the opposite of what we were doing for the little B right here, and we'll see how this turns out. I'm going to switch this over to that. So what I'm going to do is select these two, and I will copy these two, and then we will paste them onto the amended parts. With the metallic BSDF right here, go down to the principal BSDF, switch that out. That should go and change this to a nice grey. We're going to go ahead with the right click, and we should be able to just paste back our prior parameters. And for this one, you can go with base colour, or you can go with a metallic, or you can go with a roughness. If you go with metallic, it kind of gives it this kind of effect. If I just go ahead and plug that in. So you kind of have like this kind of rough effect, and it kind of pops it out a little bit more. But obviously with this being a bump texture as well, this technically should exist within, you can go with IOI, alpha, roughness. Roughness will give it a shiny effect. I'm going to go ahead and mosey this on back to metallic, and I'm going to take these two down. We'll go ahead and add in a principal BSD, a colour ramp, spelt the American way. And take that colour ramp and place that into the base colour right here. So now we have this kind of grey kind of background. What I'm going to do is, the more that you bring the black towards the whites, the more contrast the details on the bricks will become. So if we just do that, wait for this to render in, you can see that many of the details on the bricks are kind of coming to life in the backdrop just there. But this is a little bit too bright for the scenery. This should be darker, so we need to move the white across to the side, and then the black will follow as such. So now we have this nice little grey coming through, and obviously the lighting's the last thing to come through on the Blender render. So you can make these a little bit darker, I think, and then of course you've got the glow from the text at the side right here. Now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to place a glass bit underneath the text as well, because I believe that if it's screwed to the wall, that's fine, but it seems to me like it's floating at the moment. So perhaps some wires, perhaps a little glass background, just something to kind of pop it out, like a nice little imperfection that you would get from regular tube lighting. So, and as well, I want to remove this light at the top right here. I feel it's too much, and then I'm going to place an orange light behind here just to pop out some of these little crevices that we have. So I'm going to get right onto that. Because the glass panel is interacting with one of these hexagons, I'm going to go ahead and select this hexagon. We'll go ahead and delete that one. We'll just make sure this isn't a major one. Yeah, it might be. Okay, let's backtrack there. Yes, I need that hexagon. Alright, so what I'm going to do instead is let's move the text downwards a little bit so that it's kind of centre, but we will try to amend the glass around the outside, unless I curve it. If I curve it around this side, it should be fine. Okay, so now I have this nice little piece of sweeping glass right here. I don't think it's thick enough. That's the reason why it's kind of got a nice little halo around the outside. So I'm going to go ahead and extrude this and see what this looks like afterwards. We now have this issue of the glass kind of turning yellow in the middle, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can edit the IOR to reduce this. Beautifully, the problem has fixed itself. The only problem is the glass isn't as thick as I would like it, so I've got to find that sweet spot. Okay, I think I've got it. So we have the nice little refraction on the bricks at the back, and then we have this nice little glass going on. So hopefully when I click off this, the effect should relatively stay, so you can kind of see this nice faded glass in the background, which holds the nice little tube lighting. I also took the liberty of placing a couple of wires behind as well. I don't know if you can really see those very well. I might have to bring those forward. But yeah, I placed a little bit of wiring. I think you can just see it very faintly just here, just running down. So yeah, those need bringing forward. Okay, so now you can see this nice little makeshift plug, the wire running up to supply the words that are on here and the titles and stuff like that, so that's cool. Okie dokie, so we can see over in this corner right here we kind of have a nice little glitch going on. Wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead and place these back to where they should be, and then we will amend the texture. So after a little bit of amending, we can see that we have some white patches here and we have these kind of gold patches right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and change some of the textures on these. So I'm going to go ahead and click this one. Switch this Principled BSDF out right here to a metallic BSDF by coming over here. Switch the Principled BSDF out for that. Oops, not that one. Let's go for that nice metallic. As such. Okay, so now we kind of have this nice little metallic going on, but you'll notice that the background just changed, meaning that the texture for this isn't the correct texture for some reason. This is completely glitched. So let's go with that Control Z and we'll see what's happened. So if I'm clicking on this object right here, hopefully the background shouldn't change, but if I click on this one right here, perhaps if we have a secondary perhaps material, something like that. Maybe that's something that's happening. So, let's go ahead and take this again with the secondary object and switch out that Principled BSDF to the metallic and see what happens. And yes, this one hasn't changed, meaning that this one is actually the same colour as this one and it's just an optical illusion. So with this one being the way that it is, we're going to go to the metallic BSDF right here and we'll change down this roughness, and the word that I can't pronounce for the life of me, we will go ahead and turn that up. So this should give a nice little shine to the background. Now you'll notice something else as well that's just happened, meaning that this, although these lot look like they're different materials, they're actually not. They're actually the same material. So when we've done the disc on this one, you can see that everything is changing, which means that if we want individual ones right here, we're going to have to make new materials for the old ones. So I'm going to go ahead and take down the roughness again because I quite like that kind of dark honeycomb colour. I'm going to go ahead and up the anisotropy right there, as we can see that we're doing. So we've got this nice little bold shine on there. So if we go ahead and look at this wall side on, we can see that we have the trail end of our text right here, the bumblebee, and then we have this nice wall. Now you can tell straight away the material that we've just changed because it's this nice loopy kind of metal material. Everything else that is dull has a different material. These ones that are lighting up everywhere, this red, this yellow, these are emissions. So at some point I decided to put some lighting on this wall. For me personally, I want to put the lighting in between these honeycombs rather than have it like this. So these are going to be changed. And then I'm going to put a plate behind these ones, and we'll see how this looks. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly amend this, and I'm going to go ahead and actually make different patterns all the way across, so it's kind of a variation rather than just a boring kind of one standard wall. Okay, so I've made a few little variations. So the next thing to do is to remove this light, or at least put it a little bit shallower in the wall, and then add in some background lights. And obviously this one right here is glitched and this one right here is glitched, so I need to remove these two, and I'm going to be looking for any more glitches as I go along. The wall is also looking relatively flat, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some of these outwards just randomly so that we have some variation. I think I may have changed my mind about that backlighting. It doesn't look good. I don't know, you can just see it about here. If I go ahead and turn the light off, maybe you can see it a little better. Okay, so with the lighting turned off, it looks like this, and I'm kind of on the fence about it. I don't know. Maybe I'll get rid of that and just turn the lighting back on, but you can see where it's not lit and then where it is lit. I mean, it's a nice kind of effect, but does it really suit the scene? I don't know. Let's see if we can move that emission up just a little bit more and see what this looks like. Yeah, I don't think I like it that much. I'm going to go ahead and backtrack. Okay, so this chair's kind of been bothering me for a while, and I think something's gone wrong with the nodes. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, let's go ahead and get rid of the material on here. We'll add new. We've got material output on BSDF right here. I'm going to go ahead and add in texture. We'll go Voronoi, because this is leather. We kind of want that nice little crinkle. So once we add the Voronoi, we should get something akin to this. So I'm going to go ahead and add this into the, let's go with roughness, so we've got that nice little leather look. And then we can go ahead and take this, and let's go to add, and we'll go with bump texture right here. We'll go ahead and place this right in the middle. You want to go from colour to height if you're doing this. So now we should have these little Voronoi lines kind of coming up on here. So if I go ahead and move the filter width and the distance real quick, and we'll let the computer do its little calculations, we should have little lines across the back of the chair, in theory. So we can go ahead and scale this up, scale this down. You can see how that's kind of moving. Depends on the kind of lines that you want. Let's go with colour ramp. Where's my colour ramp at? Place colour ramp right here. And we'll go ahead and change that into a base colour. So now, if we bring the black towards the whites, this should contrast it a little bit more and you can see some of that detail. You can go ahead and change this into roughness if you want to from the bump. And you should have even more detail on that leather. So what I'm going to do is just scale this down, so that we kind of got that nice little leather cracks coming through. Like it's an older chair, maybe it's been worn down a little bit. Tell a story with your stuff. You have something like that. Then we obviously need to match that green too. So add, and then we can go ahead and match that green. Or at least as best we can. I think we could go there and make it a little bit darker as such. And then we're going to take this one right here. We'll get rid of the material, and then we need to match the material to this one as well. So if I just go back there just for one moment, we're going to name this material as, let's see, I'm going to name this material as A leather. I'll just put ALE, selects the base right here, and then I'm going to go down and find that ALE, wherever it's gone. We might need to go up. I think we were halfway through the listings. Alright, so then we have the ALE on the base right there. So, yeah, I think it's a little bit too extreme. I'm going to go ahead and just put that filter down just ever so slightly. Just kind of curve that off a little bit. Maybe a bit more. A bit down. I need to find that sweet spot. About here. Okay, under 8.5, 7.3, 6.8. And 2.5. 2.5 is not too bad. Get the roughness there. You can rough this up just a little bit more. I'll make it a little bit more shiny compared to what it was prior. And then these legs right here, the nodes have been removed, so we need to remove this. And then we will go new texture, and I'm going to switch this principal BSDF to a metallic BSDF. So let's go with BSDF right here. We'll switch that to metallic BSDF. And I'm just going to go ahead and add this. We'll take this roughness down. So now we should have this nice little chair just sat in the corner. I think this is a little bit too light. I think it needs to be darker, so we'll go ahead and move that black up across to here. Alternatively, we could just place it there. And we've got this nice little green chair coming through as such. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've added some shelves up here on the back. So I'm going to put some underlighting under here, see what this looks like. I think the underlighting might be a little bit too much, like maybe just like fade this down a little bit. It just seems a little bit, hold on. Let's go ahead and just mosey this on down. Just kind of give it, I don't want too much light because if I'm sat there with the webcam and stuff like that, I don't want too much distortion. I kind of want it chill in the background, so I might make some of these lights a different material just to achieve that effect. I think it's too much. Yeah, let's go to 0, see what happens. See what's causing all that external light, and then just mosey this on over just ever so slightly. I think that should be okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Okay, I did a thing, and I don't know how to feel about it, so I need your opinion. The gold with the blue. Gold with the blue. How are we feeling about this? I kind of like it. It's nice. Okay, so I've set this to render and now it's going to be used for my other YouTube channel that I have. Hope you guys enjoyed and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.